Okay, so today I was kind of thinking about a few different things, like in my own personal journey, because we're all on this journey. It's like a spiritual journey. We're all on it. And it's all intertwined with one another's, and we're all learning from one another, but we're all a different thread. We all have a different role to play. And so we all have a different color that we bring to this blanket. If we were to make up a blanket, like what they say, what is that thing? Like I've heard it expressed in a couple different ways about the Akashic records. And I've heard it, that you go into and it's like a library, but I've also heard it expressed as if you went and it's just a giant, giant quilt, and it's made up of all of us. All of us are the threads that weave and make this beautiful, giant blanket, the quilt of this life, this experience, this soul's existence, fractaled out into multiple other experiences. Like it's so fascinating, really, when you think about what consciousness is. So, and I know a lot of people just, they can't grasp that concept. They're just really caught in the three-dimensional concepts of, you are you, and you get this life, and it's a test, and blah, 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 whatever. But, I think everybody's kind of transitioning more into opening their mind. I think that the universe is kind of saying it's time. It's time to move out of the dark ages and into a more broader perspective in your thought and a more spiritual connection to life. And anyway, so what I was thinking about, one of the things was each time I start to say this, because I started to do this a minute ago, and then right when I could be sitting there thinking of it, right as I started to say it, just went blank in my head. But there was two things, so I'll just start with the other thing first, because I'm sure it'll lead me back to, okay, about the journey thing. And so I have my own personal journey that I'm on too. And it started, talked about when it started, it was the bump out of the rat race. It was the push shove out. I was getting a brain injury. And I can see now, looking back, you think you're working so hard for meeting your goals, but really I was just trying so hard for somewhere it was never my future. And I was trying to force a future that wasn't mine. And it was taking a lot of energy. And, I was not connected at the time to the external guidance that is given to us. I was way more caught up in my ego, and that can become confusing for people, for most people. I think most people can't even recognize the consciousness that is speaking to them over their ego. So many people are, oh, that's my brain. I thought of that. I'm smart. They don't think about, where is this coming from? No, it's just a way to divide. Like, I'm smarter than you. I thought of it first. So, anyways, so we're on our own private journey, and mine has been spectacular. When I look at it, at the time when it started, I was devastated. I was really devastated, and it just felt like, I don't understand everything I'm doing. I'm trying to do the right thing, and why isn't it working, Why is life pushing me this other way? It was very confusing. And then plus to have deficits at the time that were causing me problems. Like I said, going to the doctor, it's a big boys club. They weren't going to talk about what happened at the hospital. Let's not talk about it. Let's just pretend like it's, let's pretend, like, don't take care of my health. That's why I said the system is not for you. It's not there to help you or take care of you. They will injure you and then turn their backs to you, and will just leave you to fend for yourself. And, that's what happened. So it was a very hard time. It was a really hard time. And, especially coming out of the medical field, it was that abandonment, plus having your whole identity involved in, I'm a nurse. I'm a nurse. So your whole identity is all about this. Your friends are all about, everything in your life is this one way, and then it's all taken away from you, and you have to try and figure it all out. But throughout my journey, you know, which I talk about all the time, because I've had to do so much healing, and you have to find so much inner strength to get you through every, you know, every obstacle that we come across, especially when we think we're going in the direction that we're supposed to. We're being led in a certain direction and we're not. And we're really the one forcing this direction, and we're ignoring the signs that are leading us in another direction. And we're just like, no, and the signs come harder and harder and harder. And, you know, like I've said before, they'll go to physical, we'll go to physical attack if necessary, which I experienced. But it taught me a lot, and I know that that's what is part of my purpose. So I have a lot of stuff going on right now, a lot of stuff going on in my own personal growth, in my own personal, like the messages and stuff like that they are giving me. It's so directed, and it's so funny too, because sometimes they can be telling you stuff and nothing matches, nothing what you're seeing in the world makes sense to what they're telling you. And they're telling you one thing, and the world is like, okay, well, the world's showing me something different. Who are you going to trust? Well, I've decided who I trust. And when they keep telling me something, I'm going to trust them, and I'm going to do what they tell me to do. And that's what I've been doing all this year. You know, and even when things don't make any sense, and, you know, my accounts are getting taken down, my accounts are blocked and stuff like that. And you just think like, okay, this makes no sense, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Oh my gosh, on the TV, it just said 1 2 2 1 2 1 12 21 21. That's tomorrow. I told you I love that date, and all of a sudden it's just sitting there. I love that date. Anyways, so in my personal stuff, you know, it keeps telling me that things are going to be changing. But when you start reading the signs, because it's really important, like I tell all the time, read the signs. You've got communication all the time. It's us that's caught off. We are the ones blocking it. We are not noticing it. We are caught up in our day-to-day survival. We're not noticing that there's communication all around us. And when we do, we oftentimes think, oh, it's a monster, there's a scary ghost. Ah. You know, it's like dark age thinking. So start noticing the signs and stuff. But in the signs that they keep giving me, you know, and they're leading me a certain direction and telling me things. And I just, today, it just struck me as like, oh, that's why they took that TikTok thing. That was just it was a distraction for sure. I was supposed to be focused on something else. And, you know, they've made it clear what I'm supposed to be being focused on. And, you know, I'm excited for the future. I know good things are coming. You know, it's hard when, like I said, that our external doesn't match, you know, and even when we're sitting there feeling like, I know this isn't the end. I know something good's coming. But everything on around us is showing like this is dark times, just like, you know, no sun ever. There was a sun, sun. We use that term very loosely around here. It's that silver disc up in the sky. It was beating out yesterday, like trying to burn some eyeballs off. So it did have a time out yesterday, but it wasn't the sun. I still haven't seen the sun in a long time, like for definitely months. Kind of miss it. Kind of sad about it. Gotta remember to take your vitamin D. I don't know where other people are. All 4 of you. I don't know where you all are, but over here by Washington State, it is. It's weird. The sky is weird. Clouds, this disc up in the sky, all of it's just weird as fuck. So, anyways, but it is us who keep us in the dark, you know, because we don't want to. It's a construct that's built in our minds to trust only what is being shown to us and given to us when we see the information is being manipulated, and then you see all the purpose. Like it all goes together. And then when you can start seeing outside of the box and you start seeing like, oh, this is what's real. Spiritual is what's real. All of this construct that they've created is all to trap me. It's all to enslave me, to keep me unconscious, in an unconscious state. What consciousness wants to be kept unconscious? Like it's like a medical trap. That's why I said the white blood cells had to come here to rescue people. That's how I really see it. And I think that's just so fascinating when I heard about the Palladians explain that the same way. There's a lot of things that I have heard now where I think like it's got to be something. I've got to have some link to Pallades or something. And I don't know who's talking to me. I mean, there's a lot of beings that talk to you all the time. There's consciousness all around you talking to you and giving you, it's where you're tapped into. You might be tapped into, science or, creation or whatever. It's the energy you tap into. It's coming from within. It's your vibration that you're putting out. And your vibration, you can always change. It's about healing and growing and accepting yourself, accepting others and not judging. That's how you change things. That's how you raise your vibration and get to, into the consciousness you want to be. I just know that there's a lot of beings out there talking, and I know that it doesn't really matter. Like right now we can all sit here and think like we're earthlings, we're human beings, we are mankind, but we're not just that. That's what we are identifying with at this time on this planet. But we're way more than that. Just like, I know I have some link to these other beings, and maybe I have a lot more incarnations there. And that is one of the other things too, is, so today I was sitting here and I was thinking, I was watching an old Vincent Price movie. That was my favorite when I was a kid. I loved old Vincent Price movies and Christopher Lee. I love those old-timey horror movies. And there was so many good ones. The Blob, Mummy. The Mummy was so good. All of these were good before, Hollywood turned them into garbage. They used to be really good. Like it could be over the top, silly, but it still had like a scary kind of. They were good, and then they just turned them into, I don't know, watching people get slaughtered, watching people have hardcore sex, and horrible frequencies to keep you unsettled. It's like cheap. It's the same thing as with their jump scares. It's just cheap. It's not really anything into the story. Anyways, so and Peter Lorre. I gotta put a little Peter Lorre out there, which makes me think about even Steve Buscemi and thinking about it's these oddball characters that they're unique. They are so odd, but they are so unique, which makes them so special. But Peter Lorre was really cool when I loved him. And his voice, you'd always, just hearing that voice and his not beady eyes. He had these like protruding eyes. And he always talked so funny. I can hear it so perfect in my head, but I won't be able to do it as well as him. Maybe I could, but I would be self-conscious at this point. Okay, so anyways, when I was watching this movie and it was set in like the 1800s or something, and making a whole thing about these clothes they're putting on and these things where women would tie themselves into their friggin' clothes and pull, crush their lung capacity so that they could look really small, I guess, or have like a wasp kind of shape, like the waist was supposed to be super, super tiny in this style, supposedly, that existed. Anyways, while I was sitting there watching, I was going, did these times even exist? Did any of this even exist? Did it only exist to the people who had incarnations at that time? Is it really a thing? Like, we think about time periods and places and stuff as being places and things and something we get to enter. But really, it only exists to the souls that were there. And consciousness is only going out. Consciousness is reflecting itself. Consciousness is experiencing itself. So it's putting itself into and creating all this stuff. And when you have all these consciousnesses and we're all linked and all part of the same kind of consciousness and we're all creating this same kind of thing, like where you can touch things, like, because everything is really a dream. It's like everything for a consciousness is like a lucid dream. And it is the more that you get control over your consciousness, that create your experience. And that's what we're learning about. That's part about the ascension and enlightenment, is gaining control of your consciousness. That's why you don't want to be unconscious as a consciousness. You want to be fully conscious. You want to be fully awake and working, So you learn to have control. And I know that's where the whole thing came back from, like witches. Like I know I've gone through a life experience of that, of understanding about energy. But when people don't understand it, then they become fearful. Right now, we still have the people who are calling New Agers devil worshippers and Lucifer, and we still have the globalists trying to push like the New Age. They get everything so dirty and messed up. But when you really go into just like the New Age, we're moving into a New Age, a new experience for souls. That's the New Age. And to focus on your spiritual growth is, if you want to focus on the New Age, or you want to focus on just your spirit. I don't know how they turn that into something ugly, but when you start to focus on all of that stuff and you start understanding about consciousness and energy and what you really are and what this place really is and how everything is really an illusion, and it is all a manifestation of our own creation, and it's fascinating. It's just fascinating that we have these abilities, and that we doubt ourselves, that we think that we're less than what we are, that we question ourselves, and we get caught up in stupid little dramas and mysteries and stuff like that. Arguments over, if the world is flat or if it's a fucking globe. I hear it tingling in my nose. Who cares? It's an illusion. Nothing is real. Like if you go into a dream, and you're in a jungle, the jungle's going to seem like one way to somebody and somebody else to another. What if you're both in the same dream? What are you going to notice? Somebody's going to notice maybe the spiders and spider webs. Somebody else is going to notice the big giant leaves and the frogs. We're all going to see something different. Our experience is going to be different from one another. And is what we focus on. We're scared of spiders. We're going to notice every fucking spider. We don't like wet leaves to touch us. We're going to nose every fucking wet leaf. It depends on what we focus on. It's just so trippy when you start really realizing that we're all in a different room. You can be in the same room, but you're all in a different room. It doesn't look the same to anybody. Nobody's experiencing the same experience. And I believe that the more we get control over our consciousness, and that is like a lucid dream, and understanding about energy and what we're doing with our energy and how we're affecting energy and the energy of all consciousness and stuff, and how it's all connected, and how to be connected, and how to, just like I was talking about, not fighting, not trying to force what you think life is supposed to be. Because I think this is one of the things that really gets me, why I say that everything is destined. There's no, oh, maybe this will happen, maybe that'll happen. It's all predestined. It's all a complete scripted play. Because if you came into this and you were just like, oh, I'm just going to go down there as a soul and learn some lessons and blah, 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 then what if you learned it with the first person? Like, what if I would have learned lessons to love myself with the first relationship? What if I didn't need those other ones to really grind it in there to teach me? Well, what about those people? What if I wouldn't have even learned it on the next one? Was there another one in line and I didn't go in that timeline? Everything has to be already sorted out. Their contracts already have to be signed. Wo's coming in to teach you when, where, and what? Like, I don't see how it would work any other way. Because it would be utter chaos. There would be no set thing. Everything is too perfectly set when you're paying attention. It may seem like utter chaos, but that's because you're not paying attention. When you're paying attention, it's very strategic. Things play out very specific. You start looking at different points of your life and what happened at those points and what you learned at those points and who was involved and how that affected you with the next part of, you know, the next chapters. It's very intertwined. There's everything is so perfectly synchronized, and that's why I love that movie Serendipity. It just shows how everything is, even when the people are just feel that chaotic feeling of like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And it didn't matter what they did. It was always going to work out the way it was going to work out. Because you can't really force things. Like, there's a lot of things, like, over the past few years where I've felt like, oh, I would love to be able to just go and force this. But then is it destiny? If I go and force something, then I've changed destiny, right? Destiny happens. Destiny plays itself out. Destiny works itself out. Things happen to show you. And, you know, they've been showing me a lot of stuff. And, anyways, I do feel like that there's some things, and maybe it is just going to be in my private life where there's going to be some things that are going to be changing. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this is going to start going. I know that there's shifts occurring. And, you know, I know that my destiny is not to just sit here and listen to still snore and cry. And it's being last night, like, all of my nights of sleep have been so weird. I know I can't be the only one, but I swear to God, it makes me feel like the nighttime is like 20 hours long or something. I'll wake up and I'll just lay there and lay there and lay there and lay there. Get up and I'll think like, it's gotta be morning by now. I've been laying here so long. It's still the middle of the night. I don't know. I don't know. I just know there's just something really weird going on with the sky and the time and the weather. Like, I know there's manipulation, but I feel like there's something more. And you can't talk about it with some people because all they can see is climate change. It's so crazy how some people, you could fear germs. Germs can be like so scary now to people, but other things that seem to be more what you should be concerned with is last on the list. Like, no, I'm not even worried about that. Like, well, I'm not worried about germs. You know, they're all around us. We all have them. And the more you take care of yourself, then you'll be fine. You can have germs be around you. But germs have become like so much more to people. Like, I don't know. Like, they think everything is germs. Like a hair, it's got germs. Fucking hair, it's got germs. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff people have to wake up to, and it all is about lies and manipulation and fucking with people's heads, making them think that there's germs on hair. And I don't know. But anyways, that's I'm thinking now with the 1800s and all of these different time periods, like to me Atlantis and the pyramids and Egypt and stuff is like huge in my head. Like, I can see things in it, I can see visions, and I knew things about it when I was a kid, and I knew people were wrong when they were saying that the aliens didn't have anything to do with it. And I knew that people were wrong when they were saying that aliens weren't involved with people a long time ago. Like, I know I'm from that time period, if you want to call it a time period, or it's just an experience of a soul, an experience of what each soul goes into experience, and it picks these time periods to experience it in. But do they really exist? Like, is time linear like that? Like, what is before us and what is after us? That's what is tripping me out right now. Like, was it before us, what we think of as the 1800s? Or is it just a created time? Like, how? I don't know. There's so many inconsistencies. Just if you think I sound crazy, just start looking into it. Start looking into stuff about the history and pictures and maps and how many people live there, and this whole elaborate city that they supposedly built by themselves. And like, I mean, there's weird stuff, real weird stuff. And you have to start being like, okay, things just don't add up. There's nothing that adds up, which takes you right back to, it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion to keep consciousness trapped. So, I don't know. It's very, something to think about. So that's what I'm going to be thinking about today while I'm knitting hats. And I'll tell you what, that knitting or crocheting or whatever, any of these little things where you just sit there and like tie these knots, do macrame or any of that stuff, where you're doing that over and over and over, it's so relaxing to your mind. And it totally is a good, you know, I don't want to just say like trying to get through this time, because it's not just about trying to get through this time. It's trying to enjoy it, trying to make it not just be miserable, because it's hard. 2 years, you know, it's almost exactly 2 years. I mean, by March, it's going to have been when the quarantine started. And it's just a disappointment, you know. 2020 was a shocker, you know, that was a shocking year. 2021 was a disappointment just because, you know, expecting that who was voted in would really be in, that the Jubilee would have started by now, like all of this stuff. The med beds would be making appointments, and how they just hold this stuff back. That's been the biggest disappointment, I think, of 2021. I'm just like, how did they do this for a whole year? Whole freaking year. I don't think 2022 is going to be the same. I think stuff is going to be still, I just thought it would be a lot more dramatic. A lot more dramatic. I think it's probably got some drama going that we just don't get to see. You know, we're just not privy to all of the exploitative things that are happening behind closed doors. But I think we'll be seeing soon. But man, it's just I don't know, sad about 2021 being gone and over. Just, it seemed like it was just so fast. Like a whole year of being in here. I mean, going out, I mean, I went on that road trip and stuff, but I mean, you know what I mean. Life's not the same. I mean, and I don't want to go and pretend like it is. I'll go out with a bunch of people, fucking gray people with their empty eyes, and that's 3 feet. Get back. That's what it's like, man. These people are like, you're less than 5 foot. I heard you sneeze. Like, people are fucking germs and crazy shit, man. Anyways, you know, just stuff to think about and stuff to look into. Like, if you're bored, I say the knitting and the crocheting is productive. You can make a lot of presents for people. Or like last year, I made tons of blankets. I was bringing a crocheting machine last year too. These ones are a lot more very smaller. Like, it's really keeping your fingers nimble, but it causes cramps too. But anyways, it's very relaxing, it's very soothing, and it does make time go, and you are productive, and it is fun. You do start getting creative on your colors and your stitches and stuff like that. So, you know, and there's always stuff to look into, just like looking into the history, everything about it. And it's trippy. I don't know how they were able to cover all this stuff up. It's very trippy. I think we're going to all be in for some real surprises. You know, I want to know more about the damn sky and the time and how this is working. Like, where are we really? Where? That's what I want to know. Okay, have a great day. And, you know, got to keep asking the questions. What else are we going to do? Talk to you later. Bye.